Thank you, everyone, and thank you, fellow Toastmasters, all for being here today. Um, before I begin the speech, how many of you guys watch TVs or movie? Okay, we all do. Great. Okay. All right. Awesome. Now, my speech is about the influence of media and our development. Now, before I start, I want to introduce myself. I am Cynthia, but I am also a thinker. I am also a reader. I am also an artist and a consumer. And in the common saying in the world of nutrition, you are what you eat. But in this case, we are what we consume. We need to be intentional with the media that we consume because it holds so much power over our overall actions throughout life that we can't just willingly just ingest whatever we see on our screens. For instance, one moment that I noticed that the media that I started consuming was detrimental to my health is when I started, going through my social media, scrolling, and I was kind of analyzing how a certain post made me feel. I followed all these influencers and I followed all these people, and they made me feel so sad because I felt like I was consuming content to a point where it held no value to me. It gave me no value. So I started analyzing how I became the person I was today. And I went back to my roots. Growing up, I watched this show called Gilmore Girls, and they loved media in that show. They consumed every single book that they can think of, every influential movie that they could think of, and they analyzed it and they made it part of who they were. In my case, one movie that holds so much power to me is George Lucas's Phantom Menace, Star Wars. Do we have any Star Wars fans here? Okay, yay! Awesome. Okay, cool. As you can tell from my cup, my favorite character is Grogu. But back to the speech. So in The Phantom Menace by George Lucas, one of the characters that I felt most influenced by was Qui-Gon Jinn. And one saying in that movie that even to this day I still think about is your focus becomes your reality. Whatever you focus on, whatever you consume becomes your reality. So after that, I became intentional with my social media. I started only consuming content that brought me something educational, that made my soul soar, that made me feel good. And I started listening to more philosophical people such as Alan Watts. And he kind of inspired me to become a better person. In his talks, in the way that he spoke, in the way that he delivered it, it held so much meaning to me that he actually is a central part of my being. Yesterday, I went to a concert, which is why I look so tired today. And while I was listening to the music, I heard Alan Watts' voice, and it sparked a fire in my soul. And that's when I knew that the content that I consumed from Alan Watts still influences me, still inspires me, still keeps me going. And I will continuously be intentional with the content that I consume. And I challenge you all to be intentional too, because what you consume becomes your reality. Thank you, everyone.